All right, so now I'm going to talk about the actual shocker, in my opinion, of this upset city weekend was the Cowboys against the Cardinals. Ooh, this one, all right. I mean, look, definitely starting out with the fact that Trevon Diggs injured, right? Huge defensive impact on them. I think that that's a big loss for them in their secondary, but I don't know if like it can account for them losing the way that they did to the Cardinals, right? I mean, like Diggs isn't on offense, right? I mean, he's not, there, he's not affecting the lack of points being scored. Like you start off first. So Cardinals beat the Cowboys 28-16. And I think defensively though, the first possession for the Cardinals is a field goal for the Cardinals. And it's one of those where like, okay, not a big deal, but it's one of those things where it's like, it seemed like a bit of a forewarning, right, for how they would perform throughout the game, because the Cardinals scored on every single possession in the first half. And this is a defense that allowed just 10 points in its previous two games. So it seemed like, I don't know, it wasn't necessarily like the Cardinals had it figured out in a sense, right? Like they scored on every single possession in the first half. I mean, that like this Cowboys defense was like kind of lauded as like, oh, like here we go, like they've got it now. This is the year that they've got it. And it seems like every year for the Cowboys is the year they got it. But like, it's one of those where this year you could actually tell, like, okay, they were a different team. And okay, like it's only week 3, or that was only week 3. If they win the next 4 or 5 games, no one even talks about this game at all, right? It's just more of like you roll your eyes at it, whatever. But I just think that, when you look at this game, I don't think it's panic mode at all. I just think it's one of those where you have to look at it and think like, okay, well, what exactly went wrong, right? Or like, what exactly was the reason for them not being able to put up a lot of points and letting the Cardinals score as much as they did with, again, Josh Dobbs. He didn't even do training camp, right? He joined, I think it was a week left in preseason or something like that. And I mean, you look at this game and man, like Cardinals looked good. And I definitely think Cowboys made them look a lot better. But the Cardinals did look good. You have to give them credit, I think, too. But I mean, you also look at the way that the run game, in my opinion, for the Cardinals, they were able to just like run through. Like there was many like holes in the Cowboys defense, and that was not something that the Cowboys can continue if they want to find success. And they're not going to compete with the Eagles, the Phillies of the league. They're not going to compete with just the top level teams of the league. They're not going to compete if they keep playing that style, or they have those holes on defense that they did. And again, it's like, yes, Diggs was not there, but it's also like he's not necessarily the one that's like, he's not letting in these running backs go right through the hole and everything. It's not necessarily his role. So, I mean, it's something I think they'll clean up, honestly. I think this is a game where it's good to have your humble pie early in the season and, make these adjustments and things like that. Again, I'm not worried at all about the Cowboys. I just think it was a pretty shocking, again, a big upset. It was a big shocking upset. It was a big surprising performance put on by the Cowboys defense, and also the offense too. They didn't do that well either, right? I think you look at the if you look in the late third quarter, 4th and 3 on Arizona's 4-yard line, and Dak just couldn't make a play, and so that was a huge opportunity for them to just cut into the lead and get a little bit of that, make it a closer game, and really feel like momentum and just feel like, all right, put the Cardinals on their heels a little bit. I mean, like there were a lot of plays like inside the 10-yard line during that early fourth quarter, I think it was, and incomplete pass to CeeDee Lamb just resulted field goal instead of getting definitely a much needed touchdown there. So you have these plays that you look at, and there are key moments in the game, and you hope they don't come back to bite you in the ass, and kind of did for the Cowboys here. So it's unfortunate. I think it's one of those where you hope the Cowboys can turn the page and move on from this kind of game and just learn from it, right? Again, I'm not at all concerned about the Cowboys. I don't think this is an indication or a foreshadowing of what's to come. I think they'll turn around, but it was just a game that surprised by. You're surprised by it. But you got to give credit to Josh Dobbs. I think Dobbs, 7th NFL season, secured his first win as a starter. He got 189 yards and a touchdown. So, at least for Cardinals fans, you have something to look forward to in that sense, right? Like Josh Dobbs, great performance. It's not like their season's full in tank mode, although I don't know, maybe some people want them to go in full tank mode. So you never know how that's going to turn out. Maybe the Bears are leading that race right now to the first overall pick for next season. But I think, 17 out of 21 passes, he showed control there, right? Previous 0-4 record as a starter. I think this win was a good one for his confidence. You kind of need that. When you get your first win under your belt, it kind of gives you that, like, okay, and he is the starter, right? So that's what's great about this situation for him is, like, he's the starter, and get a good win. You're getting ready for next week. It's just like things build on each other. And you hear it all the time, right? I hear quarterbacks talk all the time about, like, sometimes it just takes putting a couple drives together and it can turn things around. And then before you know it, a couple drives turns into a good quarter, good half, a good win, and then a good win turns into like a string of really good games coming up for you. So that's a really positive thing for Cardinals fans to look forward to. I think, again, on the other side of the Cowboys, another one I know they shall bring up, I think, with the Cowboys here is like penalties. There were 13 penalties for 107 yards against the Cowboys. And that's, those are momentum stealers. Those really stop you from trying to put together good drives. Talk about putting together good drives. Getting penalties is going to stop you a lot from getting that momentum and being able to drive yourself down the field, because it just keeps bringing you back and bringing you back. So yeah, I mean, there was that holding penalty that negated a 51-yard punt return, which that could have really shifted the game for the Cowboys, and get a penalty, and that kind of stops a lot of that momentum. So it's just one of those where it's just a bit of a reality check for the Cowboys a little bit. You don't want to fall into this trap of like bad habits, bad penalties, not being able to complete and execute on red zone opportunities, on defensive plays. Don't let the defense just have these big holes and down the middle for other teams to just run right through. So you want to be able to stop these things early in the season, which again I think they will. I don't see them slipping behind or anything like that. It's just really, really tough game to lose, and you never know where these losses might come to bite you back in the ass later down the line in the season. So hope it doesn't for the Cowboys, but again, big shocker here I think for this week. Cardinals getting one over the really hot Cowboys that started the season, but we'll see if the Cowboys can turn it around. And good job for the Cardinals, but we'll see if the Cowboys can turn around this time.